Good morning, guys. We are on the maiden voyage here on the new Lund on Lake Superior. So I'm with my buddy Amos, and we're gonna go try and catch some cohos this morning. You guys have been liking the catch and cooks lately, and cohos are probably my favorite fish to eat of all time, at least on fresh water. They've been biting pretty good up here, and we may catch some other fish too, but the goal is hopefully a limit of cohos. We're getting started at 6:15, so we got a pretty early start. And a lot of times cohos like to bite early, so we are gonna get on it, get some rods out here shortly, and hopefully start catching fish. All right, guys, we are about 5 minutes in, and we got the first fish on. Just got the boards out, and we've got 4 stick baits out, and then a couple 2-color leads with spoons. We're just gonna do some experimenting and see what they like. This one hit a scatter wrap. There we go, guys. That's the prize right there. That's what we're after. So that's just a standard scatter wrap. These cohos are really, really high up in the water column. So this is probably only running about 4 feet down on 80 feet back. Cohos love pink, and that little bit of contrast with the dots seem to do the trick. So we're gonna kind of take stock of what colors are hit, and we may change some over to pink if we get another hit, but let's get that back out there. I just turned off the camera, turned around. We got another fish on. This time we're on the 2-color lead on a spoon here. Trying some new boards here. The guy sent me a couple of these. They're like, they use them for catfish down south, but they look really sweet. Show them that. It's called the Alpha boards. Oh, another fish, Amos, another fish. Outside board, we're doubled up. Doubled up. Woo! We may end up with a limit at this rate. Man, this one feels nice. I don't know. I don't think this is a coho. The way it's acting here. I think yours is. I think you can bolt flip that. Yeah, this ain't a coho. I think we got a laker. Whoa, he's getting mad. He's getting mad. I think we got a lake trout here. Oh, that's a dandy. That's a dandy. Yeah, this is a lake trout. I might need a net here, Amos. There we go. Oh, no! Oh, we lost him. We got the eater in the boat anyway. Well, we landed the coho, guys. The laker escaped. It was a bit of a rodeo at the boat, but we got the one that counted. This is the one we wanted to eat. So that's 2 cohos in the boat, and we're having some action here. This has been chaos so far. We have had 4 fish on in like minutes. We lost the lake trout, but we got 3 cohos in the boat, and we busted the hook off of one bait. We only have 2 lines out right now. We're just getting them back out here, so hopefully this continues, because that was quite a run. We're just using scatter wraps and scatter wrap husky jerks so far for stick baits, and those are always a good choice for cohos. It just seems like cohos really like those things. And then I'll show you the spoons we're using. I was just gonna grab those spoons and show you, and we got hooked up again. So you'll have to wait a second. You can bolt flip that one. Right on the back hook, beautiful. Yep. All right, guys, I got some of these brand new spoons from Still Fishing. So this is a new company, but he's been putting a lot of research into these spoons. He's making them specifically for the Great Lakes in a lot of more natural colors. So like your herring colors, your smelt colors, 3 different sizes. And that's the spoon we're using. Actually, we're using the smaller chrome and blue one right now, and then the smaller green with the black dots. So those are the 2 we got out right now, and they've both gotten hit so far. So that looks just super realistic, especially in this clear water. I'll leave a link down below for these spoons. I think they're gonna be a really, really good addition this year to the arsenal. We lost the one on the spoon, but I think I still got this one. Yep. Oh, there's a lot of fish here. I'm looking at the live scope, and it's just loaded with bait.
Oh, it is.
Loaded with bait and fish. Yeah. Boat flipping cohos. All we're doing really here is we're setting out 3 boards, 3 planer boards on each side, so we can fish with 3 lines each here in Wisconsin, so we can use 6 total. And I'm using rod trees to separate the rods out vertically. And instead of putting rod holders in horizontally, this works so much better when you're trolling boards like this. It keeps all of those lines away from each other and just keeps those lines up off the water. Highly recommend trolling with rod trees if you do a lot of board trolling. I got these at Marine General up in Duluth. If you've never stopped at Marine General, it's a must-see. Every time we go anywhere near Duluth, I'm stopping at Marine General. And if you're gonna get a setup like this with the Trax Tech and everything, it's really worth going somewhere where they know how to set it up and they know what they're doing. They can set you up with the right stuff. So I'll leave a link to Marine General's website down below, because they really have all the knowledge on Lake Superior fishing and trolling, and you can go there and get everything you need, from downriggers to a tree just like this one, and they also have very good prices. So but that's basically our setup. We're just stacking those boards out. We're doing the spoon lead core close, then we're doing a little deeper diving stick bait, and then the shallowest on the outside, running everything about 80-100 feet back off the boards. And super simple this time of year. We got 47-degree water temps, and these fish are all sucked up to the surface in this warmer water. And it's one of the most fun times of year to troll, is, you know, that May-June time period out here on Lake Superior, because everything's accessible. You don't need any fancy stuff like dipsy divers and downriggers. So lots of fun stuff. We're trying out some new things today, and so far it's working. So we're getting back to that area where we caught those first fish, so hopefully something goes off here in a minute. All right, we just picked up another one here. We kind of went back through our waypoints and didn't hit anything, so we just kept going this direction. And we got one on the outside board again. There we go, number 6. Lake Superior candy. I am excited to eat these fish. They are my favorite. So one thing you want to pay attention to out here when you're trolling is when you get bites. So we noticed that on that last pass on our outside boards, we were getting hits on the outside, but not the inside. And that means that those baits were moving faster. So we're gonna tick up our speed here a little bit. And that's a good way to tell if those fish want those baits moving faster or slower, is by watching that outside turn. And if those baits are getting hit more, it's probably a good indication that those fish want it a little bit faster, and vice versa. If they're hitting the inside, they might want them a little slower. So we're gonna kick it up to like 2.6, 2.7 here, and see if we can't get some bites. All right guys, just hooked up a fish on the spoon here. We're just getting to a mud line. We're almost to the mud line right now. And wham, fish. That might be a laker, huh? Well, look at that line. You can just see the water turn color right there.
Look different on it.
I think that might be a lake trout. Sure is. There we go. Nice laker. Redemption. So that's the first laker in the boat. We lost one earlier, but that's that spoon I'm talking about. Silver and blue, looks just like a smelt or a herring, and lake trout snapped her right up on this mud line. So hopefully we can get into a few more fish on this mud line, but that's a beautiful fish. All right guys, this is a good example of what I'm talking about when I say color change. And there's usually a temperature break right here, as well as a water color break. This is a really defined one. We're literally going from like 6-foot visibility water into crystal clear water in a matter of feet right here. You can see just right there, there's the line right behind me, and bam, now we're in crystal clear water. The temperatures are dropping immediately. So we're gonna work this line. If you look down this way, you can see that line behind me right there. Pretty cool. All right guys, back in the stained water here. It's a little bit warmer, a little bit of color to it. Another fish. There we go. All right guys, it's 9 a.m. We're sitting at 7 cohos, 1 laker, lost a couple fish. We got 3 more cohos to go to get a limit, so it's looking pretty good here. There we got him. That's number 8. Another coho in the box. Coho number 10. Let's get him in the boat. Doubled up. You flipping yours? Might as well. Look at that smelt coming out of his stomach. That's crazy. Wow, that's a nice one. That is awesome. Bring that up to the camera. Look at that, guys. That thing ate a smelt right before he ate that husky jerk. Crazy. Okay, this one's coming in. Hey, there's a little rainbow.
Oh, yeah.
Little steelhead. Pretty cool last way to catch our last coho. We got a little rainbow here at the same time, doubled up, and that thing was puking up a smelt right as we caught it. I gotta let this little rainbow go. But that's 10 cohos. This is fun, but I love eating these things, and we got a nice limit, so perfect ending. We're gonna head back home, and we are gonna fillet these cohos up, and then I'll show you how I plan on cooking these fish. So we'll see you back at home. All right, guys, we just made the drive back home, and before I left the landing, I cut all of the gills on these fish and bled them out in the live well, and then I emptied the live well of water, put them on ice in the live well, and drove home. And that's the best way to take care of your fish, in my opinion. Get rid of the blood and then get them chilled down, and that's gonna ensure I have the best fillets possible. Now, what I'm gonna do is just show you one fish, how I fillet a coho or any soft fleshed trout. And it's a really simple method, works really, really slick, and it's the best way to do it on these softer meat fish. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to fillet a coho. All right, guys, first thing I'm gonna do is actually cut the belly off the fish. And this is gonna make this second process a lot easier. So I'm just gonna grab these two pectoral fins right here, slice down, and then I'm just gonna slice that belly right off just like that. And what that's gonna do is help the guts kind of fall out and get out of the way of the next cut. So the next cut, we're gonna take off this whole slab of meat in one slice. So I'm just gonna start behind the head and cut down to the spine. And then I'm gonna turn my knife, and we're actually gonna cut right through the ribs. We're just gonna take this whole fillet right off the fish. And this is part of what eliminates a lot of that extra pulling that you have to do if you want to fillet over the rib cage. Now you can see that is just an absolutely perfect clean fillet. You know, part of that is bleeding the fish out, and part of it's just that one slice across. You don't have to get over the ribs, and you don't have to pull at the meat at all. So it's super, super clean. Now, if I want to smoke this fish or grill it and leave the skin on, I can leave the skin on. I'll show you that first. So in that case, I'm just going to sever the fillet right here. Take it off the fish, and if I'm going to leave the skin on, what I'm going to do is now just take the ribs out. Now the knife I took that fillet off with is a pretty stiff knife. It's an 8-inch Rapala, just a standard Rapala fillet knife. Great knife, but it's not super, super flexible. It's got some backbone to it, which works really well for taking that fillet off. But when it comes to taking the ribs out, I really like these Ultra Flex knives from Rapala. They're called the Stealth FXF. And I'll leave a link in the description for both these knives, but this one's got a lot more flex to it, and it's a much thinner blade. So that's what I'm going to use to de-rib this. Now, when it comes to taking the ribs off this, I'm just going to follow that little bloodline, and there's the bones that all kind of start right in here. And I'm literally just going to follow those ribs down and then back up again. All the way down and back up. And see how I'm almost getting no meat on those ribs at all. It's like paper thin slice. See that? And that's all your ribs right there. Now the only bones left in this whole fillet are right in here. So we can actually take those out. You can feel them with your finger. And we're gonna just slice down on one side of them. And they kind of angle up towards the back of the fish, like so. You can see them right there. So we're just cutting all the way down to the skin, real gently. You don't want to cut through the skin. So once you hit the skin, you got to stop your cut, or it will slice right through it. So there we go. And then we're going to slice on the other side of them right here. Again, just looking for a paper thin slice pretty much. Now I'm going to go under, just right here. Once I get enough going right there underneath, I can just literally scoop that one little slice out with my finger. Give it a little cut at the end right there. And now we have an awesome slab of meat with the skin on the back that we can grill or smoke. And look at that. It's extremely clean. That's how I like to do it with the skin on. Now let me show you. If you want to skin it, we'll do the other side here. And again, I kind of pull the guts out of the way. I'm gonna make that same cut. Same kind of thing. We're just cutting all the way down the fish, right along the spine, right through the ribs. Now, instead of cutting through right here, I'm just gonna flip that over and continue right on down, taking the skin off as we go, just like that. And actually on this one, the ribs actually flopped over. There's only a couple left on this piece, but usually you have to cut most of the ribs out on this piece as well. But as you can see here, when you take the guts out, it allows that to kind of fall down. And I almost got all the ribs in that, just that one slice. But now we do have the pin bones left in this piece. You can see them right here. And I'm going to go back to that Super Flex knife here, the Stealth. We're going to cut on the back side of them here. What would be the dorsal side, kind of angling towards the back or the dorsal. Again, just like that. And now we're gonna just take that slice out with the bones in it right there. And this time we don't have to do anything extra. There's no skin attached to it. So we just cut it right here, pick that out of there. And now we have a nice boneless and skinless fillet. And that is a great way to fillet any small trout or salmon. All right guys, it is finally time to cook this salmon. I got Jackson here with me tonight helping out.
Hey guys.
And we are going to be broiling the salmon tonight. So I left some of this with the skin on, and that's what we're gonna be using for this recipe. Jackson and I both like the fish with the skin on. And what we're gonna do here is just a slightly smoky, sweet glaze over the top of this broiled salmon. Broiling is a really good way to cook thinner pieces of salmon because it doesn't dry the fish out, but it still puts a nice glaze on the top of the salmon. If you just were to bake it at a lower temperature, this fish would get done in 8 to 10 minutes and the top would just be soggy. It wouldn't be glazed over or crispy at all. So that's why we're gonna broil it. And we're just gonna season it with a little campfire catch and cook, which adds a little smoke and salt to it, and then just the Stellar salt, which is just the seasoned salt. And then my secret to making this really tasty is a little bit of brown sugar sprinkled over the top, and that's gonna add that little sweet glaze on the top. So we're just gonna baste this in olive oil, put those ingredients on top of it, and pretty much just put it in the oven and broil it. So I'll show you how to season it all here, and then we'll get it in the oven. All right guys, so the first thing I'm gonna do is spritz the bottom of my pan with some olive oil. And this is that cool little spray bottle I showed you in my last catch and cook, and we've been using this quite a bit. It's really slick. You literally put whatever kind of oil you want in there and just pull the trigger, and it literally just coats the bottom of the pan, so you don't have to buy like spray oil. So I'll leave a link in the description for this thing because it is pretty cool. So now we've got that oiled up and we can place our fillets in there. I've basically just washed and patted these dry so they're nice and clean. Again, we've got them boneless, but with the skin on the back. We're just gonna lay them in an even layer here. Now we're just gonna take a basting brush and we're gonna dip it in our olive oil here, get a nice coat all over the fish. Now we're gonna take our Stellar salt, which is just the Catch and Cook brand seasoned salt. I really like this seasoned salt. It's got a nice mix to it. We're gonna open up the side with the shaker here and just put a nice even coat over the top of this fish, all over the top. Season it nice and well. And then I'm gonna add a little dash of the campfire. So this is that smoked salt, and that's gonna add a little bit of smokiness to it. I don't want too much of this, just a little bit. is all we need here. And now the secret, the brown sugar. So I'm just gonna take a pinch of this and just try and kind of coat that as evenly as I can. Don't want it too chunky, so I'm kind of rolling it between my fingers to get a nice coat on here. But that's gonna look really nice when that broiler's done. All right guys, so that's what it's gonna look like going in, and I've preheated the oven to 425. I wanna get that temperature up there so that when we turn the broiler on, it's already hot and it's gonna start cooking to temperature. I'm gonna set my rack at about 10 to 12 inches, maybe 14 inches below the broiler, and then we're gonna turn the broiler to high once I get it in there. So I'm gonna have Jackson put it in the oven, and as soon as we get it in, we're gonna crank up the broiler to high. And if you only have one setting, maybe put it a little closer to the broiler and just set it to broil. So let's put her in. We moved it up just a little bit at the end to get a little more glaze on it. And that is looking delicious. That is what you want to see right there. It's flaking really good. That means it is done. All right guys, it's time to do the big taste test. So I love these fish spatulas, by the way. It's a longer spatula and it allows you to get under the whole fillet like so, and you don't break it into pieces. So I'll leave a link for those below too, because I really use that thing all the time. So there's your piece, Jackson.
Thank you.
There's my piece.
Oh yeah.
Now Jackson is not a known fan of salmon. He likes trout, he likes other fish. He said salmon's not his favorite. We're about to find out what he thinks of this salmon. So let's go ahead and dig in here. It's probably pretty hot. And you can eat the skin on cohos. They're very small scales, and the skin is actually quite tasty on a coho.
Wow, that is good. That does not taste like normal salmon.
Best salmon you ever had?
Yes, I would say so.
Man,
that is probably the best.
I'm close to agreeing with you. I've not broiled a ton of salmon. I've done it a couple times, but man, it really makes a difference versus baking, because you get that nice glaze on the top, cooks the top really well and a little bit crispy, but then you get that really perfectly done fish on the inside.
Notice I'm not talking much because I just want to eat.
I'm telling you guys, this is so good.
The brown sugar with the salt is like perfect.
I agree. Yeah, that brown sugar really adds a lot to salmon. So every bite of this is just like bursting with flavor. You got your smokiness, your sweetness, your saltiness, it's all there. And I really, really like those new Catch and Cook seasonings. They're my new favorite seasoning. I've liked every one we've tried so far, and they're pretty new. They haven't been out too long, but I will leave a link down below for those so you guys can pick some up. And I would definitely recommend at least this one, the seasoned salt and the smoked salt, because it really together makes an incredible tasting fillet. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll leave another video for you right here, and we'll catch you next time. Get hooked up.